The best laid plans and all. I was all set to get ready for work, and then I read this. So, the wife of, or the widow of former NHL player Jeff Parker is being donated for CTE studies. Now, the NHL denies CTE. That repeated concussions over your career can cause brain injuries. Think about it. There's no lasting brain injury from getting brain injuries. That's sort of like, you know, if you pull your knee out of its socket 6 or 7 times, you're not going to need problems later in life. That's sort of like breaking your back and saying you're going to have back problems later. You're just damaging your brain. That's just crazy. Jeff Parker joined the lawsuit. He's part of this lawsuit. And there are people who make the statements of, well, players know what they're getting into. Players know what they're doing. So it's, you know, it's not the NHL's fault. Why should they sue the NHL? When you retire, your insurance is gone. Health insurance is expensive. Parker played, I think it says 141 games in the NHL. Let me just take a look here. He played 141 NHL games with the Sabres and the Whalers. He retired after playing 11 games with the Muskegon Lumberjacks in 1991. One of a small group of players who became the public face of the NHL concussion lawsuit. And he died. And he died from, it said, complications from an infection that attacked his heart and lungs. So not a brain injury. Not necessarily related to concussions. His quote here from May of this year: "We're not looking for a pot of gold at the end of the rainbow, just health insurance. If you've played the game and need a new knee or a new shoulder, or you smashed your elbow, or if you've had concussions, it would be nice to be taken care of. You're only here for a short time, and you want to be able to enjoy life. It's sad they have not been able to settle. It's just a matter of time." And now he's dead. He received a $366 check every month for his time in the NHL. For 141 games. I don't know. People say, well, they make a lot of money, so it's fine. If, just break it down. If a guy makes, say, you know, Parker, not a big name, plays 141 games over 5 years. Let's just say he made $2 million. Okay. Let's just say over his career, in the late 80s, early 90s, he made $2 million. He's got 40 years of his life left. In this case, he had about 25. But ideally, he has about 40 years left or more. $2 million, yeah, it's winning the lottery. It really is. But when you look at the health issues, and apparently he'd complained of ringing in his ears, constant headaches, and his partner of the last 10 years, who I'm referring to as his widow, said he was, his temper had grown worse over the last 5 years they were together. These are all the hallmarks of CTE. And the NHL doesn't want to pay for it. The NHL's agreeing with fans who say, part of the game. So, for Parker, whose quality of life over the last 20 years he was around wasn't fantastic, it's just part of the game. That's just what happens. It's fine. It's not that you get a concussion. It's that the NHL didn't have a protocol until recently. Well, why did they bring in the protocol? It's a slippery slope here. So we're saying the NHL doesn't have any culpability in this. Well, it doesn't matter. Okay, if it doesn't matter, then don't have a concussion protocol. If the players are capable of patrolling this and controlling this themselves, don't have a concussion protocol at all. Oh, you need one. Well, why do you need one? You didn't need one back in the 80s. Okay, we didn't understand how bad concussions were in the 80s. We know now. So why aren't we looking at players who got injured repeatedly in the 80s with concussions that we know now are concussions and making sure their bills are paid? For a player to say, look, I live in the States, I just want my health coverage from the organization I was playing for, and the NHL's, you know, the one that's in control of all that. I want them to assume part of the debt here because I played for them and I got injured playing for them. The NHL can't feign ignorance now, and they're still trying. The last time I read an interview with Bill Daly or Gary Bettman, it was all squawking about how there was no link between brain injuries, long-term brain injuries, and concussions, which is just stupid. It's like me going into the doctor and saying, hey, my knee, it's all like, it's just screwed. And him going, yeah, you've got really damaged cartilage and it's buggered. You're never going to walk on that again. And me saying, do you think it's from all the injuries I've had playing football? Nah, that's just one of those random things. It just happens. Clearly, it would be from football if that's what I played. Just like the guys with CTE, it's from playing hockey. And the NHL's saying, no, it's not. And when they're challenged on it, the NHL gets angry. Why? I'm always highly suspicious of anybody who's accused of something who gets angry. Their initial reaction is anger and defensiveness. And not an acceptance that this is even a thing. So maybe this is the plan. Just keep it in court, litigate it, and maybe they'll just die off. Eventually we won't have to worry about it. These guys are not doing well anyways. Maybe it's because some of the guys in this lawsuit aren't exactly that well off financially. Eventually they'll just be broke and this will go away. I wouldn't put that past the NHL at this point. I mean, here he is. It says right here, Parker told the White Bear Press, which is the paper that interviewed him, his ears rang constantly, he suffered headaches every day, and he needed to spend days in the dark because of his sensitivity to light. And that's where they say he got a $366 a month check. And his girlfriend / wife, widow, said he loved hockey so much. These guys are so young when they go into hockey, and there was no warning given to them about coming back from concussions and brain injuries. The treatment was nothing. You get a horrible concussion, you're confused, and if you can skate, you go back out there if you want to keep your job. I just felt like they used him and threw him away. After playing in the NHL, he wound up on a medical care program provided by the state. In 1991, Parker was checked into the boards by Capitals defenseman Kevin Hatcher and hit his head into the stanchion, holding the glass to the boards, and then slammed into the ice. My head got caught in the glass, and when I came to, I thought I was playing for a different team, he said in April. My head went oblong. After 2 weeks off, Parker was cleared to play. In the first game back, he was checked on a routine play. He said his appendages went numb, and he left the game. He did not play another game in the NHL. In his final years, Parker was a bartender in Minneapolis. While a group of former NHLers allege the league concealed the risks of concussions for years, the NHL argues that players could have put two and two together about the risks of playing in the NHL. The league has also taken the position that the connection between repeated head trauma and long-term cognitive damage is unproven. It hasn't been proven. Yeah, that's why his arms went numb. That's why he has to sit in a quiet room. Oh, don't worry, he's dead. How many players? How many players that are not a part of this lawsuit go through this every day? And the NHL's defense is, A, well, they should have known better, and B, it's not proven. It's not proven. How should they have known better? I'm baffled. So there you go. There's my CTE speech for today. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. And don't forget to hit like and subscribe if you're browsing your way through. I will talk to you again soon.